Before we had smartphones and access to professional audio editing tools, there was a magical little app built right into Windows. Beware.
Beware.
If you grew up in the 90s or maybe even the early 2000s, you probably remember it. Sound Recorder.
Here's what you can expect on today's episode.
Today we're going to do something wild. We're going to use Sound Recorder to create a multi-track song of sorts. Along the way, we'll run some fun audio experiments, na lemon, na melon, and take a nostalgic dive into how Sound Recorder evolved over the years. Let's jump in. We are going to start with the history of Sound Recorder, but if you are only here for the audio tests, you can skip ahead to where they begin at this timestamp. But you shouldn't, because it's actually about to get really fun and nerdy in here. So let's go. Sound Recorder made its debut with Windows 3.0 in 1990. Back then, multimedia computing was cutting edge, and Microsoft wanted to give users a taste of what personal computers could do with images and sound. In the mid-90s, audio editing software was expensive and usually reserved for professionals. But here was Sound Recorder, pre-installed on millions of PCs worldwide. Now, as Windows evolved, so did Sound Recorder. By the time Windows XP rolled around, Sound Recorder was still there, now with a slightly higher audio quality and an updated look.
Fun fact. Early versions of Sound Recorder didn't save audio directly to the hard disk, but instead recorded it to the computer's memory.
Yes, that's right. In fact, Sound Recorder used memory instead of the hard drive because hard drives back then were a lot slower at reading and writing data. But memory, or RAM, was much faster. By storing the sound files in memory, Sound Recorder could process audio in real time without delays. How did you even get up there?
Whoa!
The original recording time was limited to just 60 seconds, but you could work around it. By saving a 1-minute clip, you could reopen it and keep appending it to itself. And this lets you stretch out a recording as long as your computer's memory could handle. It was kind of a stupid workaround, but it did work. Interestingly, while Windows users were experimenting with Sound Recorder, Mac users had a similar tool called Simple Sound. It was released in System 7 in the mid-90s, and it did have audio recording and playback features, but it didn't have as many options as even our limited Sound Recorder. I personally didn't use this because I grew up with Windows, but if anyone has any stories or anecdotes to share regarding audio on Mac, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and Sound Recorder was significantly changed and simplified starting in Windows Vista, removing most of the features. Now, I used Sound Recorder frequently with friends to mess around. It was simple, it was easy, anyone could use it. And so when I finally upgraded to Windows Vista and tried it out and saw that it was reduced to just a record button and a play button, I knew that I had made a mistake. Take me back to XP. Sound Recorder might not have had flashy features or professional capabilities, but it was that simplicity that made Sound Recorder special. It was truly an entry-level app that turned a whole generation onto the fun of digital sound.
Now let's dive in and explore some of the features of Sound Recorder.
We're going to do a simple test first. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're off to a strong start with an error that says not enough memory available to complete this operation. The funny thing is, I have plenty of memory, and it turns out that's the problem. The fix? I found an unofficial patch from a website written in an entirely different language that looked straight out of 1999. Against all better judgment, I downloaded it, expecting my system to implode, but to my surprise, we're not getting the error anymore, and the features all seem to be working, so the weird patch from a website that I couldn't read that was potentially full of viruses totally worked. I've learned nothing. Now that we're finished troubleshooting, it's time to play with Sound Recorder. Let's start off now with changing the speed of a recording. This was hands down one of the most fun features. Slowing down a recording would turn your voice into like a deep, dramatic sound, which was perfect for monster effects or spooky messages. You're not supposed to be here. Okay, let's try it. Decrease speed.
You're not supposed to be here.
That wasn't very scary. Beware. Beware.
Beware. Beware.
That was better. Or you could speed things up to create a chipmunk effect, and who doesn't love that? The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Increase speed.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Increase again. I'm actually curious what it would sound like if I took this file and during editing slowed it back down. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Interesting, huh? Then there's the reverse feature. Reversing a recording was a simple trick, but it had that mysterious forbidden feel as a kid. Creepy. Some of my favorite phrases to play with the reverse feature were palindromic phrases, so phrases that were the same backwards and forwards. No lemon, no melon. No lemon, no melon. Okay, it's a bit of a stretch, but you get the idea. Evil is the name of a foeman as I live. Okay. Yo, banana boy. 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 Yo, banana. And of course there was the echo feature. Spatula City, Spatula City. Spatula City, Spatula City. You could keep adding echo and it would get more and more echoey. And see what happens. Is anyone out there? Can you hear me? Nothing good happens. Now let's go back in time to Windows 98 to show you one of my favorite lesser known features. If we record one layer, save it, and then record a new layer and press mix with file and open the original layer, it will actually stack them. Allow me to demonstrate. First, I said the opening line of a story I just made up. Once upon a time, there was a girl making a video in a basement. Let's save it. After that, you record your second layer with your effects. Okay, now let's decrease the speed so it sounds like a monster. That sounds so bad. Anyway, let's go to the beginning and press mix with file, and then it should layer them on top of each other. Once upon a time, there was a girl making a video in a basement, when suddenly, she started hearing some strange sounds coming from outside her door. Let's see if I scream, if it'll register the waveform. Hello! Okay, so it just needs me to scream.
Now for the ultimate hack. Using Sound Recorder to record a multi-track song? Is that even possible? Let's find out.
But if we wanted to create a song and kind of emulate a multi-track experience, we had to get a little bit more experimental. One of the ways that I did that as a kid before my parents lovingly bought me some actual recording software, albeit very crudely, was to record a layer in Sound Recorder, save that file, then open that file in Windows Media Player, play it back through the speakers, and then I would sit there with the microphone really close to the speaker so that it was playing back and record the next layer so that the microphone was getting both the original audio that I recorded and the new audio. So I prepared a song, which I call the Sound Recorder song. And I'm going to record the guitar part first, then I'll record the vocals, and then I'll record a harmony for the vocals. So we're going to do a total of 3 layers to see what it sounds like. All right, I'm going to point this microphone at my guitar and let's go. I'm going to save it in a new folder in my sound recordings file. Layer 1, guitar. I'm going to do play with media player. I brought a speaker closer to me. It's off camera. It's just right here. When I record the vocals, I'm going to come close to this speaker so that the microphone can get what I just recorded and my vocal. Also, I don't have this memorized and I don't even really have a melody picked out. So we're just going to go with it. Let's go.
I press the button, my voice starts to fade. Echoes in memory where sounds are replayed.
Now I'm going to save this as layer 2. I'm going to play back the layer that I just recorded with the vocals and I'll add some harmonies. And at this point, it usually starts to get a little weird, so we'll see what happens.
A ghost in the machine with nowhere to go.
All right, let's open it.
I press the button, my voice starts to fade. Echoes in memory where sounds are replayed. I slow my voice, it's haunting, it's low. A ghost in the machine with nowhere to go. A minute of time, that's all that it takes.
As As you heard, we start to get some weird feedback, and you do not hear that in the room when I am recording, so I'm not sure why it happens. But let's try some effects. Let's reverse it. Let's see if I say any secret messages. Let's increase the speed. We gotta hear it, right? The high-speed version, that was a winner. I can't say the same for the slowed down version. And just for fun, I did this test one more time, but this time with Daisy Bell, a bicycle built for two, and here are the highlights.
Daisy, Daisy, answer do. I'm half crazy.
Sound recorder might seem like a relic today, but its impact is hard to forget. For many, it was our first introduction to sound editing, and it was a tool that encouraged us to create, explore, and play. So did you have fun with Sound Recorder back in the day? Let me know in the comments about your favorite memories with this little application. Before we wrap up, I want to send a huge thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to support the channel and join in on behind the scenes content and maybe even have your name among the stars, feel free to check out my Patreon. Let's do the outro with Sound Recorder. That seems appropriate. So thank you again for stopping by to watch yet another episode of Crazy Hark's amazing emporium of total retro madness. And sometimes other things too. That was Buddy Holly, by the way. That'll be the day. Anyone?